Humans are complex animals. We crave the familiar, but get bored with the same old, same old. We need stability, yet we need change. Walking that tightrope is the new 5th generation Subaru Forester. Yeah, it's new. To keep its rabid fan base loyal, Subaru designers clearly drew up a body with the same bolt-upright look that the outgoing model wore, and the model before that, and the one before that.
It's a fashion sense that worked well enough for Steve Jobs, who famously wore the same black Miyake mock turtleneck and Levi's 501s all the time. Now, underneath the familiar sheet metal is a new structure, Subaru's scalable global platform, and that is a good thing.
If you've driven the latest Impreza and Crosstrek or the Ascent, you've experienced it. The stiffer structure and the addition of Subaru's standard camera-based EyeSight system keep this crossover a safe choice. EyeSight includes automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, and lane keep assist. Good stuff. Also familiar is the 2.5-liter Boxer 4-cylinder that gets some updates. I'll point out that the pistons of these engines fire horizontally, not vertically like most other engines. The flat profile sets the engine deep in the bay for a lower center of gravity. It produces 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque. Forester's weight averages about 3,500 pounds. As expected, this is standard. Symmetrical all-wheel drive sends torque to the wheels with the most grip. It's all automatic. The Sport model that I'm driving gets X mode that tailors the system to the terrain that you're looking to cross. Sport is the only Forester with the extra SI Sharp mode for even quicker throttle and transmission response. This being a Subi, Forester motors with a continuously variable transmission. This one eliminates most of the rubbery elastic feeling that CVTs often have. There's even simulated manual shifts. There's no manual transmission available.
Since there is no turbo engine option anymore, this is the performance that you're going to get out of a Forester. That would be 0 to 60 in 8.5 seconds, and it feels good off the line, but for highway merging and passing, you might want a little bit more power.
The typical Forester owner is less interested in hauling ass and more apt to haul dogs, so the performance will feel familiar to the faithful.
I have friends that have the previous generation Forester because here in Seattle, the brand is practically the city's official car. And I can tell you that the new structure is much more rigid and refined. It's something that you can definitely feel.
I did not off-road it, but I've pushed previous generations without problems in moderately rugged conditions. This one has a generous 8.7 inches of ground clearance.
This is the Sport model, but it doesn't handle any differently or better than a regular Forester. Not to say that it isn't fun though. It's not quite as compelling as a Mazda CX-5, but really, gotta ask yourself, how hard are you going to drive it?
Looking for Macan performance, are you? Well, then buy one of those. A reminder, the Subaru can be half the price of the Porsche.
Motoring around this nice neighborhood, the Forester is certainly quiet and comfortable enough. However, head out onto the highway and there will be some road noise and wind noise. It's not terrible, but that's something that you should check out on your test drive.
The EyeSight system includes tech to keep you from accelerating into things ahead by reducing throttle response in addition to a warning signal. And for drivers immersed in texting at a stoplight, lead vehicle start signals that the cars in front have moved ahead. But texting in a car is something you'd never do, right? Right?
Unlike many cars these days, the Forester has giant windows. It's really easy to see out of this car, which is nice because I'm in a great neighborhood and I can look at all the fancy houses that I can't afford.
Forester drinks standard grade gas and is EPA rated at an average of 29 miles per gallon. That's 1 mpg less than Toyota's new RAV4, but a couple better than the non-turbo Honda CR-V. It beats Kia Sportage and Hyundai Tucson by a significant 6 miles per gallon.
Here comes a stop sign, a good opportunity to check out the automatic engine start-stop system. It's okay, take my foot off the brake, and you can definitely feel it restart. Yes, it can be turned off.
If it's been a while since you've been in a Forester, the quality interior will be unfamiliar but most welcomed. There are some interesting and good-looking materials in here. Most see leather seats as a status symbol, but grippy and breathable fabric is very underrated. These are well done. Between the unique orangey copper trim and the Levi's tag, you'll never forget you bought the sport version. SUVs should be like Swiss Army knives, and between all of the storage nooks and details like this, Forester is a great companion for trekking to the trailhead. The sunroof is large, the Harman Kardon system is solid, but considering the frigid regions where Subarus are popular, sad to say only the touring model offers a heated wheel. The user interface is pretty basic, with response that's, well, not overly responsive. I'll give it this though, it's simple to configure any way you want by holding, then dragging icons into the order that you want on the page that you want it. For most tasks, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are so simple, a golden retriever can use them.
Not that I'm a fashion guy, but what's up with the Indiana Jones hat? It doesn't really work with the shirt.
It's a practical test, much like the Forester itself, for headroom, and there's an awful lot of it back here.
Also, the doors swing wide and the openings themselves are big enough so that you can get car seats in and out really easy here.
Leg and foot room are as generous as the headroom, and the seats recline a fair amount. The doors get a good amount of storage, and this kind of treatment should be standard on all cars, I think. There's a Wi-Fi hotspot and the ability to power many devices. Look, another sport tag. Many all-wheel drive vehicles have imposing drive shaft tunnels, not Forester. Because of that, 3 in back is not a huge ask, not for long cross-country trips, but a quick ride to the ski slopes, that's tolerable.
You know those kick-to-open tailgates that are so handy when your hands are full? You can't get one with Forester. However, the opening in the back here is super wide.
There's nothing whatsoever to block loading. This mat with a fashionable bamboo motif is standard kit, by the way. It's important for crossovers like this one to have spare tires, since they can end up in some fairly remote places. There are all the tie-downs, bag hooks, and power ports anyone might need. I'm a big fan of 40-20-40 split seat backs, so there are some demerits there. The space is large, no need to leave much, if any, gear behind. It's pretty easy to stash 8 packs of my trunk measurement metric behind the back seat, and no, a 9th one will not fit, I checked. So, pricing. A base Forester with steel wheels, and the only one that doesn't come with a standard roof rack, starts at just over $25,000. It does have eyesight though. This sport model with a $2,000 package that provides a larger 8-inch screen, the Harman Kardon system, and added safety tech like reverse automatic braking comes in at just under $32,000. That's about $1,000 either way of most of its comparably equipped competitors for the price sensitive. The new Forester should attract new buyers, but even if it only sells to current Subaru owners, Forester will be a hit. It's a familiar approach with just enough change to keep the masses interested. I will say the red trim on the Sport gives Forester some pop. I've seen a bunch of them running around Seattle and find it looks best in ice silver and dark gray metallic. I'm okay on this dark blue pearl paint. A fun fact about me, I've never owned a blue car, ever. Between my wife and I, we've owned about 20 cars, none of them blue. Not sure why that is, except I'm kind of partial to graphite gray myself. And while it's not a Forester, Subaru has a new Crosstrek plug-in hybrid that will cover around 17 miles on electric power alone after a full charge. It's quicker too. And since Crosstrek and Forester are closely related, well, it seems like a Forester version could happen. That is if the Crosstrek hybrid sells well.
Hope you got something out of my look at the new Subaru Forester Sport. I gotta say, the weather has been all over the map while I've been shooting this vehicle. It was 75 degrees and sunny. Right now it's 35 degrees. It was raining. I'm anticipating snow at any time, which the Forester would handle very, very well. And before I go, one more time, thank you so much for your support. It's very gratifying. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.